Well, Happy New Year. Here we are in 2022, and let's get this started with the first thing that we really need to talk about. That's self-control. What is self-control? It's knowing you've had enough Christmas cookies and deciding not to eat one more. That's self-control, right? It's choosing to do what's right when you feel like doing what's wrong. It's knowing you can, but deciding you won't. It's knowing that you have so much money in your bank account, but you're not going to buy something you don't need. It is not spewing out words and unleashing things you shouldn't say, even though you might be justified in your anger. That's self-control, and that's hard, isn't it? Well, I got the Christmas tree right behind me, and even though Christmas is over and New Year's is over, some of you have maybe made a New Year's resolution. And the New Year's resolution is basically saying, how can I do better this year? You set goals. You have things in mind you want to accomplish. And that might be all kinds of things. It might be from something physical as far as working out more, eating less sugar. It might be relationships, dating the right person, being more loving or encouraging towards others, being less selfish. Maybe it's making choices concerning your body, how you're going to dress. You're going to be more modest. Maybe you want to choose purity in your life. Maybe it's settling to do something or setting a goal to do something you've never done before, like maybe write a book or run a marathon. It may involve interactions with other people as well. So, of all these things, these choices, what is it that you're trying to do? That is a New Year's resolution. That's a goal. And you have to have self-control to do all those things. But let's be real. It's hard. It is so hard. And here's why. Everyone is different. It's like going to a national park. You get into the national park, and first of all, I might choose a trail different than the trail that you would choose. But let's say we choose the same trail. Now here's the thing. I've got long strides. So I'm going to walk in a way that might be a little bit quicker than you, and I'm going to get to my spot so I can see what I want to see. You might have a slower stride, so you can stop and look around and see what it is to see. If you got little kids with you, well, I might choose a smooth path. Those little kids might jump rock to rock. You see, again, we're going in the same direction, but we're taking a different pace, a different stride, a different step. And that's what it is sometimes in life. Self-control is hard because something that you want to do, well, the person next to you, they may not want to do it at the pace that you're doing it. Some of you have made choices in your life spiritually. Person next to you, yeah, that might be important, but not as important as you. Let me give you an example. Years ago, I went out to the Grand Tetons to go hiking. And as we prepared, I was running 3+ miles every day, 5 to 7 days a week, and working out because when we got to the summit, or I would say when we got to the Tetons, I wanted to be able to summit and not be bent over and tired. Well, we got to the Grand Tetons, and we camped in what was called the Upper Saddle in the snow in July. Snowball fight in July, that was pretty awesome. Next morning, we got up to hike and summit the mountain. We never made it. We had maybe, I don't know, another 1,000 feet to go, maybe 2,000. But again, remember, it's an up climb, a little difficult. But half the team was whipped. They couldn't do it. They couldn't go any further. I, on the other hand, I was ready. A couple of the guys, we were ready. We'd trained, but they hadn't. So we made a vote. And what we decided on that vote was if we can't do it as a team, we won't do it as a team. It's either everybody's in or not. I didn't really like that decision, even though it was partially my decision, because that meant I was unable to accomplish the goal I set out. You see, self-control is different for people. We have maybe a similar choice in how or where we're going to go, but how we do it is different. Self-control comes into play. So be aware. You might have a goal right now in this season to accomplish a lot of great things, but your teammates may not. And it may keep you from reaching your goal, and that's going to be frustrating. That's why we need self-control. And why is self-control also hard? Here's the second reason why. Because we have two battling natures within us. I heard this old Cherokee story about an old Cherokee grandfather talking to his grandson. He looked at his grandson and he said, "A fight is going on inside of me." He said, "It is a terrible fight between two wolves. One wolf is angry and sorrow, and it is greed and arrogance and self-pity and guilt, resentment, inferiority, and lies. The other wolf, on the other hand, is joy and peace, love, hope, humility, kindness, empathy. And the battle is vicious between these two. And he said, the battle goes on between you and between everybody else. The grandson thought about this for a while. He looked at his grandpa and said, which wolf is going to win? The grandfather said, whichever one you feed the most. You see, inside of us, we have a sinful nature and we have a spiritual victorious nature. Which one are you feeding? Because that will determine how victorious you will be. Yeah, there's more options out there than ever before. That makes self-control hard, right? Ice cream, I could choose vanilla or chocolate, but last night I went to the freezer and man, there was like blueberry cheesecake, chocolate cookie dough, mint chip. I mean, man, the choices are endless, right? It makes self-control hard. So here's what I want to challenge you to do. Admit that self-control is hard, and then begin to train. Train hard. 1 Timothy 4:7 says, don't waste time arguing over godless ideas or old wives' fables. Instead, train yourself to godliness. Train. That's a solid, tough word in the Greek, which meant I'm going to do whatever I can to survive. So back in the day, there were professional athletes where Paul was writing this. That's the guy, the author that wrote that. And boxing, pancration, and wrestling. And they trained super hard. Matter of fact, if you would lose, usually it meant death. So if I'm going to train, I'm going to train as hard as I can in hopes to win and survive. So train. Self-control begins with admitting that it's challenging and then training small steps. Small steps. I want to read something to you, and I'll wrap it up with this. It's a book called Make Your Bed by Admiral William H. McRaven. And he was an admiral, who was a part of the Navy SEALs, and he gave this speech at the University of Texas commencement speech a few years ago. And he basically said this: if you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. Start small, right? This will give you a small sense of pride. It will encourage you to do another task, and then another and another. And by the end of each day, that one task completed will turn into many tasks completed. It also reinforces the fact that little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never do the big things right. Self-control is challenging. Admit it. Start small, begin to train, and then if you mess up, get back up, don't give up. It really matters that you start this year with the thought of, I'm going to get better at doing the right thing. Got it? Do it. Let's try it again one more time. Got it? Do it. Yeah, I know it's a little bit longer of a video. I hope you're all well. Look forward to seeing you all next week.